All right, good morning. Let's go ahead and get started with our weather briefing. The main emphasis for this briefing today will be the severe weather risk for today, as well as the excessive heat, the impactful heat wave possibly, starting as early as Sunday and then extending into most of next week, actually. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Again, we are under now an enhanced risk. That's a level 3 out of 5 for much of central Virginia and the Bay side of the Maryland Eastern Shore. And there's a slight risk of severe weather for the remainder of the area. Again, there's not a great amount of difference here. There just looks like there could be a little bit better coverage to the northern part of our area this afternoon, but all areas do have severe weather risk this afternoon into this evening. It will be warm today, seasonably warm, but nonetheless warmer than even yesterday, with temperatures low in the low to mid 90s. And with that humidity, it's going to feel like that 100 to maybe up to 105 degrees out there today. And then outside of the severe weather risk for today, the big weather impacts for the next week is the potential for a prolonged heat wave developing Sunday and continuing into much of the week. And again, that those heat index values, those temperatures that it will feel like through much of the week will be 105 or greater. So again, this looks like a long duration heat wave possible. And for our partners and folks at the beach, there is a moderate risk of rip currents today for the northern beaches and a low rip risk for our southern beaches. And there is a small craft advisory in effect for the bay and the rivers through early Friday morning. So just a quick look at the weather maps into the weekend and early next week. Again, we have this front here over the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley that will be approaching and moving through the area late this afternoon into tonight. That will bring the showers and the potential severe weather as well as it moves through. Once we get through to tomorrow, though, and that front passes through, other than maybe an isolated shower or storm across northeast North Carolina, it is going to be dry, a little cooler, a little less humid tomorrow, but that will be short-lived. As you can see, this high quickly shifts to the south, and we start to get into this south to southwesterly flow across the area. It's going to be dry. The heat and humidity will build starting on Sunday, with those heat indices topping out at 100 to 105 on Sunday, and then on Monday, heat indices around 105, if not greater, and that will continue right into the week. So let's start with the severe weather potential today. Again, you saw this map on the opening slide, but want to highlight it a little bit more. There is this enhanced risk for severe weather across mainly our northern tier, say north of 460 for the most part. Slight risk everywhere else, but again, don't get too terribly dialed into these risk levels. Everywhere has a moderate potential for some severe storms this afternoon. There's a moderate confidence in that, and it's just these northern areas in this orange might have a little bit more coverage of thunderstorm activity, but again, the whole area could see those wind gusts of 45 to 60, maybe even 65 miles per hour this afternoon with the strongest storms. Not a big chance for hail today. I mean, there could be some small hail, but we're not expecting severe hail today. As with any strong thunderstorms, there is a low or to very low potential for a tornado. I mean, could one spin up briefly? It's possible, but it would be very weak if it did. And again, the flood threat is low as well. These storms are going to be moving pretty fast out of the southwest at 25 to 35 miles per hour. So again, the flood threat won't be that significant. And the most likely timing will be 4 o'clock, as early as 4 o'clock across the western tier to as late as midnight across the far southeast, towards Corolla and Duck and Elizabeth City. And again, this just gets into the individual elements. Again, The greatest risk of damaging winds is, again, this red area. But again, the entire area has a risk for damaging winds. And again, only about a 5% probability for severe hail and a 2% probability for a tornado. That's in this green area. Again, a low risk. One couldn't be ruled out, but it is a low risk. So here's the timing for the storms. And again, this is, this won't be exactly correct for everyone, but we are expecting the line to move into the far western areas, Louisa, Farmville, somewhere around the 4 o'clock time period, and then entering that 995 corridor, especially right after rush hour, say 6, 7 o'clock, and then rapidly moving eastward towards the coast by 7, 8, 9 o'clock, and then across the far southeast by 9 to 11 o'clock. So again, these will be moving fairly quickly. The individual storms will be moving out of the southwest to northeast at 25 to 35 miles per hour, but the entire system, the whole system itself, will be moving east to southeast across the area. So it will take, they will be moving pretty quickly, but there will be, a period of 6, 7 hours across the area that we'll have to contend with the potential for severe weather. And again, I'll use this instead of this slide here. This is the actual model-derived reflectivity. Again, you can see these storms. This is at 3 o'clock, and again, this is a forecast, a model forecast. But you can see these storms developing over, Charlottesville, Lynchburg by 3, 4 o'clock, entering the Piedmont region by 4 to maybe 5 o'clock, entering the Richmond Metro by 6 o'clock. I-95 corridor, and then you can see how they rapidly move to the south, to the southeast as this whole line sort of progresses, towards the coast by 8 o'clock. A lot of the storms would be approaching the coast up in the Maryland Eastern Shore. Still a little bit of time before they reach the Tidewater area, and Hampton Roads, sometime in that 8 to 9 o'clock time period. And then finally moving offshore, moving out of the area by 11 o'clock, maybe as late as midnight. So again, let's go through this whole cycle again, entering around 3, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock to the Richmond Metro, 8, 9 o'clock to Hampton Roads, and then out of the area by midnight or so. As for excessive rain, we talked about this. There's a small marginal risk for excessive rainfall, mainly in the urban areas, say Richmond, Salisbury, some of the areas, some towns, but in the flood-prone areas. But we are not expecting any widespread or significant flooding today. Quick look at the rainfall totals. Again, this sort of proves that we're not going to be seeing a huge amount of rain, just scattered higher amounts overall. But that will be about it for the rain. You're not seeing much difference between this slide and the previous slide. This is the 7-day total. Once we get through tonight, really the next few days are going to be very dry into next week, and that's going to help build the heat, into next week. Speaking of the heat for today, again, don't let your guard down with the heat today. It will be seasonably warm again, but definitely above normal. Heat indices will approach 100, maybe locally 105 in a few places. Again, take care if you're outdoors today, exercising or doing work. Take breaks, frequent breaks, and drink plenty of water. The forecast summary now. Let's get into the forecast for the next week. Again, notice these temperatures are cool down a little bit for tomorrow. Temperatures mostly in the 80s, which is near normal. Start to build the heat a little bit on Saturday, but once you get into Sunday and into early next week, look at these temperatures, mid to upper 90s. Wouldn't shock me to see temperatures in close to 100 or around 100, or even greater in a few spots once you get well into the heat on Tuesday, and potentially Wednesday. And our lows, we won't recover too much. Temperatures will be even overnight in the mid to maybe even upper 70s close to the coast. So again, very warm, very hot, and not much relief at night either. And again, you can see once we get through today and this evening, probability of precipitation is very minimal through Saturday and really beyond. Now, getting into the heat for next week, again, the whole area is highlighted for a moderate risk for excessive extreme heat for much of the week. And look at these heat indices that we're forecasting right now. Again, today, around 100 or give or take. Again, for Friday, lower into the 80s and lower 90s. But look at once you get into Sunday, many places, 100 to 105. And then by Monday, lots of places, especially away from the coast, 105 to 110 for heat indices, and a few places even slightly above 110. But you get the idea. Very extreme heat potentially, and really extending right into through the week. Even on Thursday, a week from now, we're expecting temperatures, heat indices from 105 to 110 in many locations. So again, prepare for this. There's a very good chance that this will occur. It's going to be a long duration, fairly significant heat wave coming. So be prepared. So our rip current forecast, again, we talked about the moderate rip current risk today across our northern beaches, and a low rip risk across the south. And once again, on Friday and the weekend, the good news is that the swimming will be fairly favorable. The surf heights are going to remain fairly low with those light winds. And so, once we get into the weekend, even though the temperatures are going to be very hot, the beaches will be favorable for swimming with low rip risk. Fortunately, nothing in the tropics to deal with for really the next week. We're not expecting any, or beyond, expecting any tropical activity. So that's good. There is a significant hurricane over the eastern Pacific, but nothing over the Atlantic basin. And unfortunately, if you don't like heat, unfortunately, it's going to continue. If you do like heat, then you'll like this. But it looks like the heat is going to continue really with above normal temperatures favored really right into the end of next week and into the July 4th week with above normal temperatures expected. And then, near normal precipitation. There could be some scattered showers and storms popping up in the afternoon, that typical summertime activity. Quick look at the marine really quick. Again, there are small craft advisories in effect for the bay and the rivers, really highlighted well in this marine hazard risk slide for today. But once we get into the weekend and beyond, again, the winds are going to be very light. The waves are going to be low. So if nothing else, head to the beaches if you want to get away from some of the hot weather. And again, just showing these potential winds for today and to tonight across much of the area. Again, wind gusts to 20 to 25 knots possible. But again, once you get through later tonight, the winds will be generally light, sub-small craft conditions. So that's all. I think I'll end with that. I'll be happy to take any questions through the question bank. But otherwise, again, prepare for the severe weather potential this afternoon and in the heat incoming for next week. I'll be happy to take any questions. Thank you.